please turn to lesson number 4, the history of life on Earth. That is page number 38 and 39. Please turn to page 39. Again, this is the lesson which we have already taken in grade 5, where we have learned about kingdom, animalia, plantae, eukarya, protist. You remember?
Yeah, Miss.
All those, yes. Again, study about them. And we will study about, you can see the vocabulary terms. Malak, you can read the vocabulary terms here.
Yeah, fossil
Yes.
record, extinction, geologic,
Time scale. Fossil record, extinction, geologic time scale. Okay, so the first one. A mass extinction occurs when a large number of species go extinct during a relative short amount of time. True or false? Tell me. A mass extinction.
What, Miss?
A mass extinction occurs when a large number of species go extinct. Is it only during a short amount of time?
No.
So this is false. The largest division of the geologic time scale is the era. Is it true or false? We call it as era.
Yeah.
It's true. We currently live in Cenozoic era. Do you remember? Is it true or
no?
We are staying in, yes, we are staying in Cenozoic. Because others were, you remember they were Mesozoic and Mesozoic and Paleozoic. We are staying in Cenozoic era. It's true. See, the third one is true. And then again, the fourth one is true. Fossils show that the first living things were very tiny. Fossils show that the first living things were very tiny. Now, imagine you find a fossil of a fish. Which parts of the fish could you see as a fossil? Girls, normally, what can you imagine the fish fossil remain as? I think it will be only remaining as this, right?
Yeah.
Don't imagine this as a... Am I correct? You can...
Yeah, it's like bones, mostly.
Yes, only the fish bones will be left. And this is like a fossil I can imagine. So please you can draw there. And again, read the vocabulary term. Fossil, fossil record, extinction, and geologic time scale. Coming to the starting of it, we will study today about how do we learn about ancient life. Again, please highlight the important, please highlight this. A fossil is a, you know who's paleontologist? Who's studying about fossils? Paleontologist is a person who study about fossils. Now, what is a fossil? Fossil is a trace or imprint of a living thing. It has to be of a living thing. A fossil cannot be of a non-living thing. It's a trace or imprint of a living thing that is preserved by geologic process. It has its own process. What is a fossil record? That have been discovered worldwide. Like imagine I collect one fossil, I tell about it to the whole world in some Guinness Book of World Record or in some record, or I publish it. So that is a record because you already observed it, you worked on it, and you display to everyone worldwide. That is called as fossil record. By examining the fossil record, Scientists can identify when the different species live and die. By seeing them, we can know approximate, not the exact, but the approximate age. And there are two ways to describe age of fossils. One is relative dating by seeing the age of the rock. Remember? When an organism is trapped in mud or sediment, resulting fossil become part of sedimentary layer of the rock. In rock layers that are not disturbed, newer fossils are found in layers of rock that are above older fossils. Same way what Malak has explained us, layer upon layer, we get rocks layer upon layer. And which layer, we will see which layer was there in which year by seeing the age of the fossil. And then next, so one is called the relative dating, and the other way is called as absolute dating, that estimates the age of the fossils in years. Maybe they can see the radioactive elements in the certain rocks near the fossil. This is all about, now let me go to another page. Fossils, name of the species shown above indicate, oh my God, I cannot even say those names. Dictylic, Isisostega, okay, all those very peculiar names we have. How life have changed over time. Over many generations, population changed, and these changes were preserved in fossils. For example, fossils show the gradual change in limb structure. You remember yesterday when I was showing you the different structures of whale?
Yeah, miss.
Saw how you could first see their limbs and later on it just were fins. So it's with the evolution, it's with the generations. Some species are present in the fossil record for a relatively short period of time. Some are present for a short period of time. Others survived a long time. They say the example, hard-plated horseshoe crab, for example, has changed little over the last 350 million years. Okay. What is the meaning of extinction? Who will say me? Everything is so repeated. An extinction happens when every individual of species die. Every, not a single individual is there to produce its offspring, then we call it as animal is extinct. And when do a mass extinction occurs, especially during disasters, during okay. So that means that strugals, a mass extinction occurs when a large number of species go extinct during a relatively short amount of time. In short amount, if many of them die, then only, like example, disaster occur, maybe forest fire. It takes seconds to, to turn fire, and it takes seconds to have earthquake, and in a very short time, so many die. So that is nothing but mass extinction. So that was Strugals in the beginning. Gradual environmental changes can cause mass extinctions. Extinctions and mass extinctions are documented in the fossil record. All these extinctions and mass extinctions, it's recorded. That's why now when you put on YouTube, you see that 2010 this happened, 2011 this happened. They have a record for all of these things. So we studied about extinction, we studied about fossil, we studied about fossil record. Now what is the geologic time scale? A fossil is dated. A paleontologist can place the fossil in chronological order with the other fossil. What is the meaning of chronological order? That means in one by one. The ordering allows scientists to hypothesize about relationships between species and how organisms change over time. Like example, he put according to the years. In 1920, this organism was this way. In 1940, it was this way. In 1960, it was this way. Accordingly over time. To keep track of Earth's long history, scientists have developed the geologic time scale. The geologic time scale, what is it? It's a standard method to divide Earth's long 4.6 billion years. You remember we told about those time, Precambrian time. Then you remember that time? Last time we have Precambrian time where you had dinosaurs and the eras, the Cenozoic, the Paleozoic, and Mesozoic. Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic. And before all these eras, we have Precambrian time. This lesson I will not include in the test, girls, but you must know about it. First is the Precambrian time. You have then Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic. We are in Cenozoic era. See, girls, here they have seen the Earth. Precambrian time, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic era. Is it clear? It's a very, very, what do you call it, as lengthy lesson. I think, no, we are about to finish. Let me just make you watch a video.
Didn't.
Okay, let us start.
Miss, yeah, when we
The shape
traveled
of the
Turkey
footprints can help scientists understand what type of animal walked through the mud millions of years ago. For example, these footprints look a lot like modern bird footprints. Based on past research, scientists can determine that the animal that left these prints was most likely a bipedal dinosaur belonging to a group of dinosaurs called theropods. The depth of the footprint and the contours left in the mud help scientists guess how the animal walked on its feet. Scientists may also be able to determine how the dinosaur's legs moved on its body and if the animal walked on 2 feet or 4 feet. If scientists combine enough observations of the footprints, sometimes they can even estimate the speed of the dinosaur as it traveled. By studying the mud itself, the footprints, and other rocks in the area, sometimes scientists are able to estimate the age of the tracks. Along with the shape of the footprints, their age helps scientists to identify the animal that made them. If these tracks were made by a Tyrannosaurus rex, they could be more than 65 million years old.
Sun, turn off the lights. Sun, turn off the lights.
Welcome to the lesson, The History of Life on Earth. In this lesson, you'll learn about how life on Earth changed over geologic time. The vocabulary terms for this lesson are fossil, fossil record, geologic timescale, and extinction. Click each term to find out more about it. Think of an animal almost as tall as a giraffe, with legs over 7 feet long. Paraceratherium was one of the largest land mammals that ever walked on Earth. Its mass was about 20,000 kilograms, almost 3 or 4 times that of an African elephant. It didn't worry about predators. Paraceratherium was too big. However, scientists believe it became extinct because it just couldn't find enough to eat. Think of an animal almost as tall as a giraffe, with legs over. There were certainly no cameras millions of years ago, but in a sense, we still have pictures of life long ago. These pictures are the fossils that we find. A fossil is the trace or remains of an organism that lived long ago, most commonly preserved in sedimentary rock. Many geologic processes can preserve fossils. Click the images to learn more about fossils. Fossils can form in many different ways. The bodies of insects can be suspended in tree resin that later hardens into amber. An animal's body can be frozen and preserved nearly intact. Often the only parts of an organism's body that are left behind are the hard parts, such as teeth and bones. For example, some Paleomastodon skulls have been preserved for millions of years. Paleomastodon is an ancestor of the modern elephant. Fossils can reveal how an organism lived. By examining the fossilized teeth of Paleomastodon, scientists have determined what food it ate. Because Paleomastodon was a plant eater, scientists can conclude that it lived in an area that was rich in vegetation. Fossils of a species of animal called Primelephus, which is also an ancestor of the modern elephant, have been found in Africa. Primelephus lived more recently than Paleomastodon. Its fossils tell scientists that Primelephus was more like the modern elephant. It was bigger and had a longer trunk than Paleomastodon, for example. Modern elephants share some characteristics with their ancestors, but they are different in some ways too. Scientists can compare the skeletons of modern elephants to fossils of the elephant's ancestors to learn about how these animals have changed over time. There are several ways to figure out when the organism that left a given fossil lived. One method is called relative dating, a process by
You said that it's relative dating. We have layers of rocks, and then we check the fossils in the layers of rock. We see the age of the fossil or by the age of the rock. We determine the age of the fossil, vice versa.
Over time, layers of sedimentary rock collect and form on Earth's surface, like layers of lasagna. If the layers are not disturbed, we can assume that the deepest layers were deposited before the layers above. Therefore, in an undisturbed sequence of rock layers, the deepest layers are oldest, and each successive layer is younger than the one below it. Sometimes, fossils are found within these layers of rock. Relative dating helps scientists compare the fossils found in different rock layers to determine which fossils are older and which are younger. For example, in an undisturbed sequence of layers, when a scientist finds a fossil in one layer and then finds another fossil in the layer of rock below it, the scientist knows that the fossil in the lower rock layer is older than the fossil above it. This method is called relative dating. Fossils are found all over Earth. Certain fossils, called index fossils, are found in similar rock layers in many locations on Earth. Trilobites, for example, are commonly used as index fossils. When a trilobite fossil is uncovered in an area, scientists know that the rock layer it was found in is the same age as rock layers where other similar trilobites were found. Even if the trilobites are in different...
Remember I told how it is trapped in the amber, it is in the similar way.
Scientists also have methods for determining a fossil's absolute age, or age in actual years. One of these methods is called radiometric dating. Radiometric dating works because certain elements in rock decay, releasing particles and energy at regular intervals as they do so. Scientists take samples of these rocks and use equipment to measure the rate of decay, from which they can determine how old the rock is. Learning about the age of the rock can also help scientists determine the age of any fossils found in or near the rock.